And what a day, a lot to get through. But let me get to our chart, which shows really that we're seeing the growth outlook, the recession fears starting to hit inflation expectations in the US.
Right.
It shows that 2, 5, 10, 30-year inflation expectations all retracing down to 2022 lows. It's interesting, this feedback loop, right, where the inflation concerns are now deeply entrenched. That's feeding through to recession concerns and leading to that collapse in consumer sentiment that you're worried about.
Well, the collapse in consumer sentiment really came pretty early. It was clear by August of last year that consumer confidence data was predicting recession in the US. It's the only variable that has predicted 6 of the last 6 recessions, 6 to 18 months ahead. We basically try and predict what is the NBER going to call a recession. Usually they call it about a year later, but these data call it a year earlier. So consumer confidence collapsed. It collapsed in the United States, it's collapsed in Europe, collapsed in the UK, declined sharply in Japan. And that was predictive of what was coming. And my view was at the time, it wasn't just what the Fed did. It wasn't just the Fed raising rates. It was the dot plots that did it. It was the markets thought that lots of rate rises were coming. And over-tightening came, and that meant recession was inevitable. So I think your call of the probability of a recession of 38% or so is too low. I think there's every prospect the US may already actually be in recession. Certainly the UK looks to be. Sweden, France, Germany, Italy, perhaps New Zealand are probably already in recession. So the markets are well behind, just as they were behind in 2008. Remember, by the failure of Lehman Brothers in September 2008, basically every country around the world, apart from Australia, was in recession, and they hadn't spotted it. So I think that's where we are now. And inflation is falling, oil prices falling, wood prices, timber prices, freight, fertilizer prices, they're all tumbling. So I think we're going to see a recession coming, and I think inflation is going to tumble, and markets are right to adapt their inflation expectations downwards.